Hey, what's up YouTube? We're in the North Pole. That's a lie, we're actually in my creative world, but still, in this video, I'll be showing you how to make the ultimate snow survival house in Minecraft. All I ask is if you enjoy this tutorial, please do remember to hit that like button, and if you're new around here, subscribe. You're missing so many things, trust me. And click the little bell next to the subscription button. That'll help you keep up to date with the channel. Without any further ado, so before we begin building, here are all of the materials that we are going to be using. Please make sure that you have all of those materials and enough of them as well. That's a very important detail. The minimum amount of space to make the build is a 33 block by an 18 block area. If you want to make the build look far more extravagant, you might need a little bit more space, but this will build you the actual house itself. I would highly suggest making the grid in your world, gather all of your materials, pause the video if you have to, and once you have all of these things sorted out, we can begin. So our first step is to come to the front right hand corner of the grid. If you haven't made the grid, bear with me just a second. Go left by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. On top of this block, place 2 white concrete. I then want you to place an upper left diagonal white concrete. Join it down to the ground by placing 2 white concrete just to the left. Place white concrete behind all of those white concretes that you just placed. I also want you to join them together in the corners and place a row of white concrete left and right of that row like this. So if you like, you can place a door here. That is where the door is going to be. However, if you're going to replace the floor, that is somewhat redundant. What I now want you to do is focus on the shape of the house. Look down at the house like this, come to the left side, and coming out of the back of the left side of the entrance diagonally, place a white concrete. Go left by 2. Place 2 upper left diagonals. Go up by 2. Place an upper left diagonal white concrete. Go up 1. Place a stone brick going left of that. Move back to the white concrete. Place 2 more. 1, 2. Place a stone brick going left of that. Back to the white concrete. Go up by 1. And then place an upper right diagonal white concrete. Up 2. 2 up right diagonal white concretes. Right 2. Up right diagonal white concrete, right by 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Place a bottom right diagonal white concrete, go right by 2. Place 2 bottom right diagonal white concrete, go down by 2. Place a bottom right diagonal white concrete, down by 4. Place a bottom left diagonal white concrete, and go down 2. Place 2 bottom left diagonal white concretes, go left 2. The end result should look like this. Now that we've done that, we can focus a little bit better on building the shape of the center of the house. I want you to add 2 additional rows of white concrete on top of the base of the large white circle that we have now created. This is going to be the main living area inside of the base. So that is why it's so big, and that is why it also has to be so tall. I don't really like large living spaces that are really cramped in the center. So that's why we have kind of a massive area once we have completed this part. So once you have done that, we now have to do a very easy thing. We place a layer of white concrete that sits up and above and inside of the top of the second layer of concrete that we just added, it connects itself together at the corners, and it is quite often easier to show you what I'm talking about than explain this process. If you have ever made anything spherical in Minecraft, if you've ever made anything circular, this is a very, very useful technique for you to make circular objects. It's really hard to do it in Minecraft, but as you can see, it works quite well. One row above, one row inside, connecting together at the corners, place the white concrete, and then add another layer. I doubt that I will have mentioned this in the intro, but you can indeed use snow for your igloo if you so choose. It just so happens that the white is a lot different with the white concrete than it is the snow, so it stands out, and it also so happens that white concrete does not melt, which is also a good thing for the snow, and I just like how it looks. But snow is also a very valid option, and is a bit more authentic, obviously. So once you've added that second layer, I want you to add an additional layer of white concrete that you might have guessed it. One row above, one row inside, slowly shrinking the circle. I promise you that we do not have much more of this to do at all. I promise. We are coming to the point where we are almost about as high as we need to be with our igloo. Igloos aren't very pointy, they are much more dome-like in structure. That's why we're not going to go as high as we can. Once you've placed that final layer, we are going to be doing the same process, but this time with glass. Did I mention that this is a modern igloo? I bet I didn't. It's pretty fancy. So we want to use the same process, but with blue glass. Blue just because it stands out, and I feel as though it fits very well with the whole snow theme. Blue, white, maybe even a little bit of green for, well, nature. Looks pretty nice. So we have this sort of effect. It looks pretty good. But that by itself looks a little bit goofy. So all we're going to do now is we're going to place white concrete on top of the empty space created at the top of the igloo. And that will be that. That will be the final part of the top of the house. And from this point, just making the house is going to be quite easy because we've just got to add a couple of details. So now that you have made the major portion of the house, I want you to come to the right side of the build. We are specifically looking for this block on the right side of the build. It should be quite easy to find. It's the middle block in the row of 3 on the front right hand side. Place 3 stone bricks coming outwards. 1, 2, 3. I then want you to place, I may have miscalculated this part of the house ever so slightly. I want you to place 2 stone bricks coming back and right diagonally. And move up by 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Place 2 back left stone bricks diagonally and go left until you connect back to the house. That's kind of my bad. We're just 1 block outside of the boundary. I'm very sorry about that. Okay, so what else do we want to do? Well, we want to place 2 layers of white concrete, aka snow, on top of these stone bricks. I like to imagine it as snow. That's just me. We are then going to place a layer of white concrete, and this is tricky because we've kind of got this in our way, right? We want to place a layer of white concrete that sits above and inside of that row of white concrete. We've used this technique before, so it should be fairly easy to kind of just replicate over here. We're going to finish up by placing a final layer of white concrete that just sits up and above. Like this. It's just going to sit directly on top. And that will be the, what you might call, extension to the house. So we have a few windows around the house, okay? There's only about 6 on the main one. So on the house, on the front, right in the middle of the rows of 3x3 that we have like on the 4 corners, destroy the middle block, place a glass. Like that. Middle, place a glass. And the same on the back as well. We destroy the middle block, glass, middle block, glass. So we've got a little bit of windowage. If you so chose to, by the way, you could even have a little window here on the back, although, I mean, it's inconsequential. It's up to you whether you want to add it. However, what is not inconsequential is the fact that we are going to be adding windows here on the little extension part of the igloo, on the front and the back, or the back and the front is the order that I've actually done it in. So it just adds a little bit more colour to the igloo. That's why we use the stone, that's why we use the white, that's why we use the blue. It all blends together very nicely. They're very wintry colours, all three of them, in my opinion. Okay, so what are we doing next now that we've reached this point? And well done, by the way. Well done for reaching this point. Next, we want to come to the left side of the build. We've already made a bit of headway by placing these two stone bricks. I want you to extend the stone bricks to the left, each by 2. 1, 2, 1, 2. Place a glass on top of the, specifically glass block by the way, on top of the middle stone bricks. Place white concrete either side, and place a stone brick row that sits above and inside of the 2 rows that we just placed. This is a chamber that we will walk through from the main part of the house into this little side area, which is kind of a storage area, pretty much. So I want you to place white concrete on the ends of the stone brick rows. And I want you to extend the white concrete up and down, like that. And I want you to take this end white concrete here, the one at the front, and I want you to place 2 bottom left diagonals. 1, 2. Go left by 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then 2 up left diagonals. 1, 2. Then go up by 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then place 2 upper right diagonals. 1, 2. Go right by 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then place a bottom right diagonal. And it turns out that we really should have just started 1 block to the left, and then this thing would have fit perfectly in the grid. Again, I'm so sorry, ladies and gentlemen, if you were really relying on the grid, I'm so sorry it's just 1 block out. It's so easily done. Anyway, from this point onwards, I want you to add 2 more layers of white on top of that base circle. So just 2 additional layers of white directly on top of the base circle. This is going to be the living space inside this particular igloo. When I say living space, it is more designed for a bit of a storage area. Although, I mean, do what you like, obviously. What I then want you to do is a little bit different. I want you to immediately grab the glass block, and I want you to place a layer of glass, and by the way, you can connect that white concrete together here where the stone connects. Place a layer of glass block that is 1 row higher, and 1 row above, 1 row inside of the previous layer of white concrete that we just placed. Again, we've done this technique so many times now that I'm sure that you guys have completely got the hang of it. Like that, that's all we want to do. Now, what else do we want to do? Well, we also want to place, and this is where the kind of trickiness comes in. We want to place like stone bricks in the corners of the glass that we just placed. Like this, like in the 4 corners, right? And we want to place glass in between the stone bricks. I think it's actually easier to kind of like do it like this, kind of like show you like this. And then I want you to place on top of these, I want you to place 2 more layers of each material, meaning like 2 more bricks, 2 more glass. So on top, in every single case where you've got the bricks, every single case where you've got the glass, I just want you to add more on top. Oh, and the back too. There we go. So now we've kind of got like a vertical chamber that's very similar to the side chamber like that. I want you to place white concrete on top of all of these. So directly on top of all of this, place white concrete. You can even fill the middle in, although later on we are going to want to have an entrance. So, you know, maybe like there, we'll have like a row of something, maybe even stone bricks, white concrete, whatever, and we'll want to be able to access the inside of this via a ladder. You'll be able to see this when I show you the entire build at the end of the video. Next, I want you to make it so that the white concrete here up top is the same shape as the white concrete below. So, very much like you're making some sort of like clay statue, I want you to gradually add more and more white concrete above, And I want you to match the shape of the white concrete area that we've just got below us. It should be fairly easy to do. I'm sure that you guys will manage to do this. So what, here as well, or if I went too far? No, I think that I'm actually missing a row like here. Yeah, I am. So missing a row here, which means I'm probably missing a block here and here. That's pretty good. That is directly above it. It is it on the back? I can't tell. It's hard to see. Yeah, okay, perfect. So we want to make an area that matches the... Well, that just looks goofy, doesn't it? So there and there. There we go. You know what? If you can't tell, have a look at the top. That will reveal everything. So next, I want you to take the outside circle of this, and I want you to add 2 rows of white concrete on top of the outer circle of the white concrete row that we have just added. It is preferential that you do not connect it in the corners, because this would change the shape of what we are going to be doing next. So we want to have something which should look like that. Okay? So basically we've got one igloo stacked on top of an igloo. We've got a double-decker igloo. Then above this, I want you to place a layer of white concrete that is 1 row higher and 1 row inside of the previous layer. Nothing that we haven't done before. Just like this. We're going to turn this into a dome now. So once you've added 1 layer of white concrete, we're going to be adding another layer that does the same, except you may as well completely fill in the empty shape that is at the top of this particular part of the build. So take all of the empty space and just fill the top of this in. I'm going to place one here too, and then all the way here. So I want to have something which should look like that, which looks pretty decent. I want to add a bit more detail though. So I want you to take the center row of each long side of the igloos, and I want you to destroy the middle blocks and place glass in there instead. Not there. There we go. And you can even do this on the sides if you want. You can do it on the front, you can do it on the back, you can not do it at all. You won't be able to do it on the right side because we have a chamber there, so it's completely up to you. But you can see it does add a little bit of detail there. And speaking of small details, I want you to, on the side of the upper igloo, what a ridiculous thing. The side of the upper igloo, I want you to place, specifically in this block, I want you to place a stone brick, upside down stone brick stairs going left, 2 cobblestone wall, actually, then a stone brick on top, 2 cobblestone wall on top of each other, stone slab on top of that. This is so fancy, ladies and gentlemen. Actually, we might even replace... do we have the material on us? Oh, we don't have the material on us. No big deal then. We're going to place a button in front of that and behind that as well. Just to kind of like add a little bit of detail. Just like this. And believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, I mean, this is pretty much the entire house complete at this point. The only thing to do from this point onwards is to decorate the outside. I can show you how to add cool details to the outside, and then later on I'll show you what I did to the original of the inside as well. But let me do everybody a favor, including myself, and let me get rid of the grid and stuff, and then I can show you what details we can add to the outside. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, so I have completely cleared the area, and it looks a little bit weird actually removing the grid and putting grass in there. I just wanted to show you this before we started work. It just looks a little bit strange, I don't know. And that I think it was a 6 or 3 has suddenly turned into a 9. Okay, so what are we going to be doing to the house? First, I'm going to add a cool little campsite just to the right of the house. And to make the campsite, we're going to use some spruce wood, some red concrete string, red carpet, netherrack, flint and steel bone meal, and spruce saplings. That's for the little later parts, but we're also going to need some oak fence for this particular part too. And we'll even need a little bit of stone slabs. So, just somewhere out in front of the house, I like the idea of there being like a little tent, a little campsite. I don't know why, it doesn't make sense because there's a house there, but we're going to place 2 red concrete on top of each other, place 1 up right diagonally, 1 coming down to the ground, or 2 coming down to the ground to join it together, make a solid shape. We're going to extend it 1 row towards us, the whole thing. We're going to fill the back in like this because it doesn't make sense to have a tent that you can just walk straight through. We need to be able to zip it up from the cold. I want you to place oak fence in front of the 2 rows of 2 red concrete. Place a red carpet on top of each. And a string between the oak fence underneath them, which will allow you to place an additional red carpet and defy gravity. In front of the tent, we're going to place like a little log to sit on. You know, kind of like you would at a campsite. Something like that, like a double spruce, just like that. We're going to dig into the ground and place a netherrack. Now, this may melt the snow, but hey-ho. Gonna set fire to it. And then around this little area, I think it'd be nice just to place a couple of stone slabs. Maybe not like full, like all the way around. Maybe just like a couple, just to kind of like set the scene. Like that just looks really, really cozy to me. It's a nice little detail to add around the house, even if it doesn't make sense. And then, yeah, it is melting the snow, but that's no big deal. And then I'm going to use the spruce saplings, and I'm going to place some trees around the house. So I'm going to just do it around the back, predominantly, because I don't want to cover up any of the house, really. But I'm going to place some spruce saplings just kind of like coming around the back of the house. I keep double placing them by accident, but I guess that's just bedrock, I don't know. There we go, something like this. And then I'm going to bone meal them all up. Just to kind of give that atmosphere, kind of like, I don't know, it just adds another colour scheme to the house to have all of... Hello? Are you okay? Why don't you wanna grow? There we go, perfect. It just adds a little bit more colour to the area, you know? I guess these two don't want to either. Maybe this one? Okay, that one wants to. Fair enough. I'm not gonna make you grow up. You know, they should rename these to Peter Pan saplings because they don't want to grow. Come on. How about that one? Okay, so but you guys get the idea. You know, place about as many as you're happy placing. I bet that one grows. No, okay. At least it's playing by its own rules. So here, how about this one? No. This one, yeah, that one grows. That one also grows, and that, yeah, but that one will grow like 1 block away. Whatever. Okay, the spruce wood trees do not play by anyone's rules. So you see, it kind of just adds like a cool little environment. And the fire doesn't melt too much of the area, so it's not too bad. It's not too bad. And here's a question. It melts the snow on the surface, but I don't know whether it'll melt a full-on snow block. I'm guessing it does, though. Anyway, over here on the left, we have just a couple more features that I'm thinking about adding. Just over here on the left, I want to add a pond. So we need water and ice, pretty much, just for the pond. I just want to add a little pond because it just... The reason that I want to add a pond is because I really like them with snow builds because you get to use ice. That's why. I think that the ice blocks are real. The ice blocks were a cool block to use in Minecraft. So I'm just going to make a little body of water here. I mean, that's kind of small. I kind of want a bigger one, to be honest. I'm going to add a little bit of a body of water over here. And in the corners of the body of water, once I'm kind of happy with the size, that's quite big. That's not too bad. I'm going to place some ice. So around the sides of the water, you want to place packed ice. But, oh, that's cool. I didn't know that it did that. So does the ice kind of like freeze everything, or is it because I'm in the biome that it does that? Oh wow, maybe the whole thing will freeze. I've not actually built this in a snow biome yet. Okay, so now we have a little lake here, or a little pond here, which is really, really cool. And around the pond, I kind of just want to make a chill little like fishing area. So I'm going to use oak fence, some spruce slabs, some spruce trapdoors, some cauldrons. And yeah, that not too much more really. Like I'm going to place like a cauldron with oak fence next to it. I'm going to place spruce trapdoors on the side of the cauldron and on top of the fence like this, just because it makes kind of like a cool little pot. And I'm going to place some spruce wood slabs. And I'm going to place some spruce trapdoors on the sides of the slabs, just so that they look like little chairs, little seats, like that. It just looks kind of cool. If you want to give the illusion that there's a fishing spot, you might want to perhaps place like a fishing rod sort of shape using oak fence, like this. That's pretty cool. You see, it just adds a nice little atmosphere. What you might also want to do is grab a shovel and to shovel up all of the snow. Now, you might want to grab a shovel to kind of just add a little bit of path, like coming out of the front of the house, just to kind of mark it a little bit. Maybe even where the campsite is as well, if the fire is... Okay. If the fire is gonna melt everything, maybe add a little bit. But what you can also do, which will also help, I'm going to collect these snowballs and maybe chuck them at stuff later. I'm going to grab the top snow, as it is known, that it has the highest position of all of the snow. I'm going to grab the top snow and I'm just going to fill in all of these bits of grass, because and I'm also going to add just a bit more snow on top of the previous, on top of like the surface snow, or whatever you would call it, the snow that was already here naturally, that's not really like, that's just kind of like one layer. I want to add 2 layers, you know, like I want to kind of just texture it so that it looks like the snow has fallen like this, if you understand what I'm saying. And it would also be helpful to grab snow, not ink sacs, that's going to be useless. It would also be helpful to grab regular snow and place it underneath the blocks that you know, have destroyed the top snow. So like wherever you have all of this grass and stuff, it'd be good to have that. I think it will melt this because of the fire, but like underneath here as well, for example, and place snow like around. I mean, even if it melts it, it's no big deal. I mean, if you're going to be using this in survival, which I think would be really, really cool, whether it's made out of snow or whether it's made out of, you know, whatever material you want to make this out of, white concrete, I mean, even wool, but then again, wool is, yeah, wool would be fine. You've just got to be careful with the fire, very much like you have the snow. But, you know, kind of like have that effect going all the way around the house, and it makes it seem as though you've got a whole thing going on now. I mean, you could even make the pond or the lake or whatever you want to call this thing, you could even make it a little bit longer so that it kind of bridges the gap, so to speak, between there and like where the entrance is. I mean, you don't have to go crazy with it. I'm going to get rid of all of that stuff. But, you know, maybe like this. And if it's going to actually freeze by itself, you don't have to add the ice in. If it's actually going to freeze and spread by itself, that'll be just fine. So, yeah, you know, kind of mess about with a little bit, maybe have a little bit of plant life, something like that. But yeah, I think that looks really, really cool. And that is pretty much like the outer part of the house complete, ladies and gentlemen. Well, I've got a water bucket. Now, I would like to show you the inside of the house. Now that I've kind of given you a grasp of what you could make the outside look like, I think that looks really, really good. But let me show you what you may choose to do to the inside of the house, in the inside of your house, and how much room and stuff you've got. So, here, back at the original Ultimate Snow House, we move in to the inside. So this is kind of how I have my house set up. The large part of the house is kind of split into 4, and I have made like little rooms. So for instance, like this little room here just on the left is kind of like a furnace room. As we come towards the back, we have like a little enchanting room. We have decoration all over the place. We have a little storage area and a little bit of a crafting / upgrading area. As it comes towards the front, we have a little bit of a brewing area. Every room has a purpose. We have a bed / additional storage area here towards the right hand side of the igloo. You can see everything's set up. It's a little bit messy everywhere, which is kind of what I figure it would be like inside of an igloo. And as we come across the side of the house, we have what I am using as a mass storage area. So this is where you would keep all of the chests, and it's kind of like a similar story as we come up inside this part as well, but up here we have like a little bit more of a valuable area. So we've got like an ender chest, and you know, we would keep our diamonds and stuff in this area. And that's kind of how I have the house set up. This could easily be kind of like the residential area, meaning where you would sleep and hang out and stuff. And the big area, like here, could all be storage. Like, it's completely up to you what you want to do to the place. It honestly is. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching this video. I really appreciate all of you so much. If you have enjoyed the video enough to make it this far, please hit that like button. It really helps me out. And if you make it all the way to the end, please share the video with a friend. Sharing is caring. If you want to keep up to date with the channel, please subscribe and click the little bell next to the subscription button. That ensures that you get all my stuff sent directly to your sub box. And if you would like to see similar builds to this, if you want to see some more survival related builds, check out the card system and the description below for that playlist. You'll love what's in there, trust me. Thank you so much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to go and jump in this pond now. I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.